Greetings and welcome. This is Psychic Medium Roberto, and I truly hope you're doing well. We are guided and blessed by Spirit if we choose. Trigger warning: the subject matter is of a mature nature and deals with true crime events. All cases, names, agencies, and people are treated as alleged until proven in a court of law. All numbers used in the case pertain to the case specifically and may not bear resemblance or similar numbers you may have in your date of birth. It is the July the 3rd, before the 4th of July, American Independence Day. Two birds with one stone on one day. Diddy, and the Idaho 4 murders. Interesting that both cases would fall on the same day. And, of course, it is very obvious that there's a design and a plan behind both cases. Of course, in this episode, I'm going to focus on the Idaho and perhaps include Diddy in the Sunday podcast, which would be episode 29. So, watching the hearing yesterday, I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about it. Something's still off. Now, Kuberger's sentencing is going to be held from July 23rd, and according to the judge, possibly into the 24th, depending. But interesting, all the numbers present on July the 23rd are numbers that we find at the crime scene. And ping also directly on Kuberger, but as well as our three-letter agency people, right? Now, because the event or the court appearance happens kind of at the start of the month, and you'll recall in the episode 28 podcast, I'd used this chart here just to get a energy flow for the week. I'm going to just go to my main chart here. So all of this is going to be energy flow reading. However, we also find all of these numbers that are in these blocks present during the sequence of events that followed at the house where the students were living, as well as in their 369. So, of course, I'm just looking, the initial look is just to see, are there standout numbers? All right, so just so we orientate ourselves here, this is the date sequence in this middle column is when the court appearance takes place. And I've pointed out some, I don't know, I'm getting some odd numbers here that don't make sense to me. I'm going to point out some issues. There's a hidden, so this technically would be the day before the court appearance. There's a hidden 40 outcome 4 in the event of a crime of this nature. And we know Kuberger, his age, in relation to what the students were at the time, he's maybe, don't quote me exactly, but he's like 2 or 3, 4 years older, right? He's not exactly an adult. What I'm getting to is not an adult per se in relation to the young adults. One can say he's in the same periphery, a little bit older than them, right? So in numerology, we see he would be the 15-6. So he's of the like slightly older, bigger brother type thing, right? He's not a 40 outcome 4, which is a father figure, father. That number's bothering me. Then, so let me just say why it's bothering me. You recall in the Delphi murders, at the crime scene of the Delphi murders, there's never a 40 outcome 4. There was always a 15-6. When we went to trial and the sentence was reached in the case of the Delphi murders, right? all of a sudden the 40 outcome 4 reveals itself. Now, we can argue and say that the perpetrator that was arrested in the Delphi case fits the 40 outcome 4 bill. So who is this older male? 4 is male, 4 is male. Who is this older male in the background? And I've just been reminded, you recall in one of the readings, I said there was an older teacher or an older male involved. Now, when I say older, he would be much older than Kuberger. So this is why this 40 outcome 4 is bugging me. On the court appearance in the intention, we also find a 50 outcome 5. Now, this is not good for me either. And of course, I'm focused on the Kuberger case, right? So all these numbers are here. Another number that bothers me, which is in line with the court date, and I don't have the full answers yet, but there's a lot of confirmation of what I've said before. So if we look at this block here, this is now during the hearing we heard yesterday, right? Another number that pops up, 35.8. Now, 35.8, in the nature of the crime, we can say is a gruesome murder. Okay, 35.8. What I believe, what we're not being told, and this is of course, the unfortunate thing of not going to trial, in that we're never going to know the full details of what happened. This, I'm being cautioned, but this is going to be heavy. 35.8 is a gruesome, gruesome murder on its own, right? Followed by a hidden, and I believe I picked up on this yesterday, just a tinge of it, this 41.5. 41.5 at a crime scene of this nature means, and I'm not saying this is what he did, but it's certainly showing that he did. But I'm going to just say what this is telling me, and, will we ever fully know, but what it's telling me, not only was it a gruesome murder, but he did something to the bodies afterwards. Or something was done to the bodies after the fact as well. So not only did he brutally murder them, he may have, and I get the feeling, and obviously I stand to be corrected, because there must be crime scene photographs, right? I personally haven't seen any crime scene photographs. But this 41 tells me, 41.5 is something was done to the bodies after the fact. It might even bring in the words necrophilia. Is that the right word? Where things are done to the corpse by the so-called sophisticated serial killer. So there's problematic. And this 50 outcome 5 at a crime scene of this nature, and yes, this is when the court appearance, but the numbers will reflect. Again, this also confirms more than one person, as well, 50 outcome 5. So that's bothering me. If we look in the action, so this is during the court, 38.11, 2 high-level communications are happening here. So this is the court number here, 37.10.1. So we'll note there's a 37.10.1 here the day before. So that's court. So the day then starts with 38.11 to the law. Now, interestingly, and this is another confirmation, we can take it literal, 3.8. The universe is saying, and this is what people are saying, that Ethan wasn't meant to be there, right? So the universe is also confirming that he wasn't meant to be there. Another problematic number, given the scope and nature of this crime and the potential other people involved, hidden is a 44.8. which means the situation that we've seen unfolding, because I'm sure we can all agree, we were expecting out a long, drawn-out trial, backwards and forwards. In my opinion, the evidence that was read out by the prosecutor here, in terms of disclosing what evidence do you have against him, was there any new evidence? Zero, right? Zero. All the evidence that this prosecutor read out yesterday, we knew about this already. So something has been hidden about this case. One, we can argue and say, yes, of course, it's hidden because we're not going to see it. But what I'm saying is, it's hidden before we know what's going to happen. And here we have this 44-8, master plan, Illuminati people's famous number, the 39-12-3 people famous number, the 48-12-3 famous number, the three-letter Murder Inc. people, right? Hidden 44-8. So what has been hidden from us? We go one block up. Look what's been hidden. 41-5. They're not going to tell us what was done to the bodies. That's what's hidden. Also, if we look at a court level, so court documents 5, so we can agree on the appearance. 14-5 is disclosure of evidence to the courtroom 5, right? 14-5. 14-5, you can just look at the scale of the number. 14-5, this is what the prosecutor here on the left is the prosecution team, if you didn't watch the case at all. So 14-5 in relation to, now you can see just on surface level, 41-5 is bigger than 14-5. So there's a lot that's been hidden. There's more hidden than what they disclose. So if they're going to say, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, I don't know how, I'm just saying, if the prosecutor has an opportunity to share with mainly the court and reporters what they had against him, seemed a bit weak. But hidden 41-5. So what aren't they telling us? Yes, it shows you this was a gruesome physical murder. But there's still something that they're hiding, and they're hiding this 50 outcome 5 here. They're hiding what happened to the bodies. So because we have the 17-8 at the end of this court case, or the hearing we heard yesterday, there's a 17-8, there's a cover-up here, in my opinion. There's a cover-up here, in my opinion. Not everyone involved has been arrested. And there are conflicts here. Why would there be conflicts with the crime scene? The universe is saying there's a conflict with the crime scene. There's a conflict with the murder. So in other words, one example could be, and I'm feeling it, but I'm just allegedly, right? What was done in that house is suggesting here that one person could not have done what was done to them as they were found. Does that make sense? Unless this guy, Kuberger, has serious superpowers. I want to just go here. In my opinion, and this is the issue now of him, why was this plea guilty came in so quickly. And why? There's no such thing as coincidence, right? Why would two high-profile cases be overlapped? Are they hoping that Diddy's case would override what is happening in the Koberger trial? In my opinion, what happened yesterday in court is a big fraud. And the reason why I say that, and now it makes sense, and I'll try and get answers for all of these numbers that I have no answers for. 50 outcome 5, so disclosure 14.5, but what's the opposite? 50 outcome 5. The whole thing is a fraud, in my opinion. There's a cover-up that's taken place here. It's shown. There's a cover-up that has taken place here. There's a hidden father male figure. Or could we say that whoever Koberger was looking up to in his criminal mind and criminal network of people, we find that there's an adult male. One can say father figure. What is the word I'm looking for? So if your lecturer or if your dean or whatever the structures are at uni, he was looking and working with an older male, someone older than him. But there's certainly even an older male around him and related to the case. The day after, so technically today, in the energy flow, we see there's a problem here, 999. Are they going to take him out? Are they going to take him out like they did with Epstein? The usual suspects are here, 39, 12, 3. And ironically, where these numbers are, 39, 12, 3 and 48, 12, 3, in those blocks, there are conflicts. There's a 9 plus 9 conflict. Where the 48, 12, 3, there's a 6 plus 6 conflict. There's a problem. There's a problem with the crime scene. So if anyone's had a look at the crime scene photos, or I don't know if it's been made public or when it will be made public, but there's a problem with the crime scene itself that is in contradiction to what Koberger is pleading guilty to, in my opinion. There's a hidden agenda. And bullshit in the air. 32.5. 5, bullshit. It's all bullshit. So let's have a look here. And this lines up with Diddy as well. It's all bullshit, man. There's definitely been tampering of evidence. 41.5. There's tampering of evidence. There's something wrong with the evidence. There's something wrong with the crime scene. The word patsy is coming up. Patsy. I mean, on one hand, it's just my observation. In my opinion, the judge seemed a bit perplexed that they were all getting ready for trial, and then all of a sudden this happens. Something's not adding up here. And I picked up again, and I know I mentioned this in the previous readings around this case. I'm definitely getting the sense, and I can see it in the numbers here as well, that other people were involved and other people were taken out. It's reflecting here again. This whole structure, this whole event was made to look like. But there's more to it. And the issue with Kuberger not testifying is we're not going to get all the answers. There's something not right about Kuberger pleading guilty. Not saying he wasn't involved in some shape, way, or form. There are other people involved. There were big decisions made. You know, again, it's like if for example, here's the day here in this column. The middle column is where the court appearance takes place, right? I would rather want to see 37-10-1, 46-10-1, 19-10-1 after the fact. But this is not just the court that knows. There's other people that know what is going to happen, and other people have instructed what is to happen. The evidence they read out yesterday, we know about that evidence. Is that it? So the DNA strand, and I'm no DNA expert, is through a paternal identity. Interesting that it's paternal identity when you have this hidden 40 outcome for father figure. And will we ever know the truth of what happened here? You know, I'm not going to say I said he's going to get a life sentence, but this is life here. 39-12-3 is life sentence. That was the number when we were looking at the court dates. But yeah, I'm still getting a sense something's going to happen to him after the fact, after this has all gone away. But unfortunately, there's too many issues. The narrative is not fitting all the numbers here. And this is probably why there was intervention before the fact, so that there's a controlled outcome, these famous 39-12-3, 48-12-3. If you're new to this sequence of crime scenes, sequence of this crime readings, there are the Idaho 4 readings. Here's our friends here, the so-called caretakers of the world, Murder Inc., 18-9, 18-9, 27-9, 9, Murder Inc., 48-12-3, 39-12-3, 30 outcome 3. The other collaborators in the Murder Inc. Incorporation, 33-6, 42-6, 51-6. Let me repeat. Day after the court hearing, so technically today, didn't we just say 33-6, 42-6, 51-6, 24-6, 15-6? Didn't we just say that? Then we've got 39-12-3, 48-12-3. Didn't we just say that? Where's the conflict? 18-9-9. Where's the conflict? 18-9. Murder Inc. Another production brought to you by Murder Inc. And the Cyclops arsehole fall guy is this guy, Kuberger. Very, very suspicious. And again, it just confirms what I was picking up in the other readings. So, once again, everyone has conceded. This is what's best. Best for who? And who else was involved? Who is the 40 outcome for adult male, much older father figure in the background, hiding? Father figure. And may your souls rest in peace. And the truth must come out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this will be my final Idaho 4 episode. And what a hell of a journey that 4 young lives were taken as a message to others for what was going on in the house and surroundings, that the Illuminati monarch programming people, which Idaho is monarch, Did you see recently in the news the last couple of days how the powers that be are trying to change the narrative? They don't want it to be called the Idaho 4 murders. They're calling it student murders now, right? All of a sudden, trying to clean up perception. Well, unfortunately, the crime took place and people went down. The patsy was arrested, and the rest are working on a new operation, more than likely. Another hoax show. I wonder what's going to happen to Kuberger in the next couple of days or weeks ahead. Bye for now.